Hello, everybody. How are you? It's a beautiful rainy day here in South Africa, and I have been meaning to actually record this for a week or so now. I think I recently watched this sort of short vlog from a guy called Chris Williamson, and he's literally one of my favorite podcasters. He runs one of the top podcasts in the world called Modern Wisdom. And the guy's kind of like setting the bar, right, in terms of how to kind of produce a podcast. He's also, I guess, sort of setting the trend as well of where podcasts are going. He's really like an inspiring guy, very well spoken, has an interesting background as well. I like appreciate his honesty as a person. And I mean, he's sort of the forerunner, in my opinion, like in terms of the new age, should I say, of like podcasters. But he posted this video maybe a couple weeks ago, or even like maybe 10 days ago. And it was about how his health has kind of deteriorated after 18 months. And the really interesting thing is like you look at the guy from the outside and his like physique, the way he is, the way he looks, the work he does, what he produces, etc. You would look at him from the outside and go, my gosh, this guy's like a machine. And he's got everything going for him in the world. And yeah, you know what I mean? You just like, you kind of like in awe of the guy. But the actual reality is, and I think this is the reality for maybe quite a lot of people in life sometimes, what you see on the outside is actually not what's going on the inside at all. It reminds me of a saying, actually. One of my previous podcast guests said, she's like, and this is related to, say, social media. You're like comparing your insides to other people's outsides. So in terms of like my insides, I'm like, your insides are like your brain and like what you think and all that sort of stuff, to like somebody's outsides, like, they got a great body, or they're always traveling, or they're always doing like amazing things. And you're comparing these things, and actually you're not really comparing reality and reality, because often what you see is not really what is going on. And just to kind of like, I guess, I want to speak about our health in terms of this kind of episode on the show today, like just how important it is to take care of yourself, really. And I'll do my best to make it like not like a pep talk, because no one likes a pep talk really, but just to maybe give a bit more light into even my thoughts on what sort of Chris is experiencing, and also just a bit more detail of like what he sort of spoke about. So he was just giving like a running update of what he had experienced the last year and a bit, and it seems like he was saying that it was almost kicked off by his environment, okay, and that his environment in this case was his house that had like some serious mold damage. And mold damage is like such a hectic thing and so toxic for us as people, that, and most people don't realize that, right? Like mold is terrible. It's like you get mold disease, it can impact absolutely everything in your life, like literally everything, and you can go on a huge downward spiral, and you wouldn't even know why, because we're not aware enough of mold and the issues it causes. And some mold you can see, like you'll see black marks on your roof and in your bathroom and these sort of things. And some of it you can't actually see either. It's just like, I was going to say I've never seen it, and that makes sense, but it's kind of like maybe invisible to the eye, but it's, if you maybe live in a tropical environment, or even like you could live in a super cold environment as well, but you have heating indoors and these sort of things. And that's, that little bit of dampness together with heat, or just constant dampness can cause mold. And if you do have mold forming in your house anywhere, you must do your absolute best to either get out of the place or just have it sorted out. That one of the ways you can sort it out, if it's only just like a little bit on your roof and stuff like that, you can get white vinegar and maybe mix with a tiny bit of water, but just white vinegar by itself is good enough, and spray it on. But when you spray it on, like, make sure you have everything covered, like, your face, your eyes, whatever. Spray it on, leave the room immediately, come back in like 15-20 minutes, and then wipe it off. Of course, keep the mask and everything on your face. That was one of the ways I've learned from a lady called Barbara O'Neill to get rid of it. But some houses are just like, you have to have basically the whole place revamped, like Chris did, and his whole house was just full of it, right? So yeah, I mean, he had to move out. He moved into a hotel, and that's not a nice place to move into. You know what I mean? It's okay to visit a hotel for a couple of nights and stuff, but to live in one while your house is getting completely renovated and this, again, it comes down to your environment. And I think what people don't necessarily think about enough is like how important your environment is to your overall health, and your environment really determines a lot of like how you kind of perceive the world, and how you grow or you don't grow. Like, for example, earlier on this year, I was living in a house and it was super cold, and like I didn't really feel that motivated, to do stuff, because I was just like freezing, even though it was like almost sort of still summer. I was freezing in this house. And that's just like might seem like a silly example, but your environment is such a big influence on you and your outlook and stuff. And that your environment could include, the people that are around you, who is influencing you, or who is bringing you down, and these sort of things. Like, I had a guy on the podcast, Dr. Bruce Lipton, amazing guy, years and years ago, and he's like studied deeply on this, and it's almost called, I think it's called like epigenetics, and it's got a lot to do with you grow as a result of the environment that you're in, or you don't grow, of course. Like, you can go the other way too. So yeah, and the environment can include a lot of things, right? And I don't think there's certain things we don't think about enough when it comes to our health. People we're quite maybe simplistic in some ways. We think, oh yeah, well, I'm not exercising, or I'm not eating properly, and that's all your health encompasses. But it's actually, it's quite a lot more complex than that. Like, what does impact your health, and what actually is your health? Is your health your body? Is it your mind? Is it your spirit? Is it your spirituality? And I think it's all of these things, and they're all so closely connected, and they actually all influence each other. But I do think that your physical health is the sort of the driver of everything in your life, right? And if you are not, like, say, physically healthy, it's going to impact everything else. It's going to impact your outlook, your motivation. It's going to impact your relationships. It's going to impact everything, So for me, like, it's absolutely like sort of imperative that you have a good routine to take care of your physical health. It's impossible to de-link how healthy a person is to say how they view the world or how successful they are. And you might have people that are like really successful but they're not necessarily like in the best health or overweight or whatever. But I don't think those people realize like how more sort of successful they can be if they really took care of their health, right? So for me, it's like such an important thing to be aware of, and to understand that you are a much better person when you are healthy. You're better for yourself, you're better for the people around you, and you owe it to yourself, right? And to them to take care of, just to take care of your health, you know. And another thing that I think, just to talk about the Chris side of things again, you know, the mold maybe sort of initiated a lot of the stuff, but you know, he has this show where he produces 3 podcasts a week, and that's a huge amount of work, especially long form. And he also, you know, has businesses that he runs and other events that he obviously needs to attend because he's such a well-known guy now. And he has a team now as well, so he has responsibility to, you know, pay people. So he has a lot of stress, and I think one of the biggest contributors to bad health is stress. And a lot of people don't handle stress well. And then if you add to it that you don't have the outlet of doing fitness, man, these things build up in your body, and the body keeps score, right? Like it's, you know, it starts causing blockages and all different things inside, and eventually it's just like it gets too much, and something sort of happens and explodes, and yeah, then it's a long road to recovery. So do everything in your life to simplify whatever you can, because modern day life is really complicated and stressful, and there's just a lot going on, right? So whatever you can do in your own life, in your household, in your habits, in your daily routine, to make your life more simple will help with the overall stress that you feel. And yeah, like just go through kind of what it is that you do, what it is that you have on your plate, etc., and go, okay, cool. Do I really need to do this? Can I do this less? Can I remove it completely? And you'll be really surprised at like how much that how much weight is lifted off your shoulders when you can simplify your life. So it's almost like you're doing a inventory of you and your life and everything that goes on, and go, okay, cool. Is this serving me? Is it not? And just how can you simplify it? And I think it's a really important process to kind of go through. And then the other thing that is huge again, that we maybe don't put enough emphasis on is our sleep. Sleep is one of literally the most important things that, you know, you can do in terms of your healing. That your body is actually designed to heal while you sleep. But we got into sort of such bad habits, especially in the modern world, where we get into bad sleeping routines. We have bad evening routines where we're probably on our phones too much, our computers, our iPads, watching TV, etc. And the lights that you are exposed to, could be lights on your roof, it could be the lights on your phone, etc. All these things kind of like inhibit the production of certain hormones that actually initiate the sleeping process, right? So we're not helping ourselves at all, you know, and therefore the healing process of everything is not actually happening as deeply as it could and should. So yeah, if you can do those kind of things, you know, like simplify your life, look at your sleep, you're going to be ahead of, you know, most people when it comes to their health, and because other people are looking at other ways to take care of their health, right? And it's more like, like I said, like the actual doing exercise, going to the gym, blah, 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 run, etc., etc. And I guess the other thing is also just getting out into nature a little bit more. We've had this real disconnect and sort of divorce with nature that is, once again, like you're part of this ecosystem, and we forget, like we might think we're these like amazing creatures as humans, but actually we're just part of this huge ecosystem. And if we disconnect ourselves from nature, we're missing out on so much energetically that you don't even realize how much that also is impacting your health, and these things that I'm talking about now are kind of all free and available to everybody. So you don't even have to spend money to probably get your health back, like 80% of your health back, the overall thing I just want to say is like, we owe it to each other to be healthy, and we need to get rid of all these distractions and everything else in the world and in our lives to do that properly. And you're capable of like so much as a person, and collectively, if we can all just be healthier, it's going to change our whole outlook on the world. You know what I mean? Like, imagine if I start looking at the world differently because I'm healthier. Imagine if you start looking at the world differently because you're healthier. And then more and more people start doing this. We kind of add to this collective of like, we all start seeing the world differently, which means we all start behaving differently, which means we're all contributing to something more positive as opposed to kind of more negative, which in a way it kind of seems like where the world seems to be going now, and we need to get out of this sort of downward spiral. And the only way you can do that is by starting with yourself, really, and just being serious about your health, like, and you don't have to like spend hours and hours and hours, say like each day. You don't have to go to the gym for an hour to be healthier. You could rather just like start with 10-20 minutes a day. If you just did 20 minutes a day of taking care of your health and being more conscious of the way you are and what you're doing and what you're putting in your body, etc., then wow, that's much better than like going to the gym for an hour once today, and then once, say, on Thursday, and then like, if you just can get this consistency going, it's that, and it doesn't impact your sort of daily routine that much because it's only 20 minutes, then everything sort of starts changing, right? So it doesn't have to be like a crazy like impact to your day. You can just sort of start small, and then you enjoy it too. It's not like, oh man, I got to go spend an hour doing this. It's like, no, you just have to go outside for 20 minutes and go for a nice walk, and don't take your phone or anything like that. Just go for a nice walk. Don't be distracted. Don't listen to something. Don't watch something. Just go out, connect, walk, take in the beautiful fresh air, sun, whatever it is, snow, wherever you are, and just be at peace for a little bit a day. I said I wasn't going to make this a lecture, but I guess it's kind of difficult sometimes. But it just comes from like a good place, right? Like I really, man, if I look at myself, like if I don't take care of my health and I get out of rhythm, I notice it impacting everything, right? How I like view things. I'll then sort of like spend a bit too much time online, and it just becomes this kind of negative cycle, but when you start reversing that and you get back into the positive cycle of like exercising and whatever it is, like sleeping better and these sort of things, like the positive cycle is so much better for you. And like you start wanting to do things, and you become a nicer person to be around and all these things. And like, I just want everyone to kind of like feel that way and to experience it. And like we owe it to ourselves to do that, because if we can do that, then man, your outlook and everything is just so much better. Yeah. Anyway, that's kind of today's one. Hope it hits a little bit somewhere for some of you. And yeah, if you've got any questions, let me know. I also have a new men's group coaching program that I'm starting at the start of November. And if anyone is keen to find out a bit about that, it's called the Renaissance Men or Renaissance Man. And yeah, it's a great one to get you going again. So that's it. Hope everyone is well. Take care. Love you long time.